Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And it gives me immense pleasure for me to chair and moderate this panel on the much discussed contemporary topic, a part of the agenda in all corporate boardrooms and management schools. Thanks to Dr. R.L. Bhatia and Rakesh for inviting me for this prestigious conclave and giving me this opportunity and believing in me to moderate this important panel discussion. It was a great moment for me. The previous panel was moderated by Jeroz, my ex-company colleague, and we have worked together. So she is the current GSK, I'm an ex-GSK, like that. Just a brief introduction. I have spent almost more than 40 years in the pharma industry, in the healthcare industry now, took over all. I've been into consulting also for some time, and I've been in organizations like GSK, Merck, and Takeda. The biggest satisfaction of my career was after getting out from my business school, when my entire family was into the field of medicine as doctors. I thought I'll join a pharmaceutical company, and my first company was a British company, Burroughs Wellcome, and I was so happy because every day I could touch the life of patients. And that gave me the satisfaction during the period when I started. At the end of my corporate career, end of 2019, the biggest satisfaction throughout 40 years was to ensure access to patient for rare diseases. And I was instrumental in developing the rare disease protocols and the rare disease stuff with the government of India. I worked very closely, spearheading from OPPI and from my own company, Takeda, who is the leader into rare disease, and from the Japanese consulate. So, two great things which I am very proud of being into the pharmaceutical industry. So I'll just set the scene for this discussion. So let me welcome the esteemed luminaries of the panel, and the endeavor is to make the discussion insightful, interesting, and try bringing out some broad level take-home messages. Let me set the scene with the famous quote, "What got you here won't get you there." And it's not to undermine the past, which has been contextual, but to leverage the learnings and start preparing for a successful future. India's pharma industry is at a critical inflection point. Our traditional strengths of cost-effective manufacturing and reverse engineering are no longer enough. I mention is no longer enough to maintain a competitive advantage in an increasingly complex and volatile marketplace. What is important for us is to foresee the future ecosystems and start charting the next level strategy by reflecting on our current strengths and start developing the skill and competencies required to embrace the challenges and surge ahead by encashing on the opportunities. The guiding principle is to be proactive rather than reactive. Understand leadership, technological, regulatory, and domain requirements. At the same time, it is critical to understand customer requirements and expectations and accordingly sharpen the skills as well as acquire new skills required to strategize for driving sustainable excellence in pharma innovation and leadership for accomplishing the goals and exceed stakeholder, both internal and external expectations. And keeping this in mind, thought leaders from the industry have been invited over here for this important panel discussion to throw light on the subject a stimulating discussion. So the so before we really enter into the conversation, I would request my fellow panelists to briefly introduce themselves to the audience.
I can already make out that we are at the end of the day because mics have stopped working. So I am Arun Saigal. I'm a first generation entrepreneur. I started my business after working for Larsen Toubro, which was my first company. Started from chemicals. We make this world colorful, healthy, and beautiful. So we are in 3 segments, which is dyes and pigments, pharmaceuticals, and cosmetics. Also, I wear 2 hats. I've been teaching at leading business schools and World Trade Institute, subjects of international marketing, entrepreneurship management, and I'm an angel investor. Learning pharmaceuticals. We entered into pharmaceuticals in the year 2000. My company started in the year 1999. So I'm just about 25 years. So I'm still a student. I think I'll always remain a student. I have had a lot of learning today. Thanks to all wonderful, wonderful speakers. And thanks to the organizers for doing it. Thank you.
Yeah, wish you all a very good evening. So I'm Nikhil K. Masurkar. I'm the CEO of Entor Pharmaceuticals. We're a specialty pharmaceutical company focusing in ophthalmology, ENT, and dermatology. So I'm a research pharmacist by profession. Business came second hand to me. I studied in those days in the UK. I worked in a research lab in the UK for many, many years. Had a great research job and then left everything to come back to my country to take it forward. The first 5 years were very challenging because we didn't have the right kind of ecosystem in research. But then somehow I was persistent in developing that kind of an ecosystem, and today we are more research focused than ever before. So I think I'll pass it on to the next person. Thank you so much.
My name is Yatin Kumar Wani. I'm a first line entrepreneur. My basic qualification is chemical engineering. Based on my experience of almost 10 years, I started my own firm since last 18 years. I'm there in this bioalexy enzymes, and we are manufacturing enzymes and probiotics. And we have our own fermentation facility. Now we are expanding the facilities as well now, fermentation facility. And our main aim is to give our everything to the healthcare sector. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening to everyone. Yeah, my name is Pramod Trimbak Badwe. I'm Master of Science in Analytical Chemistry from Pune University in the year 1993 and have more than 33 years of experience. I work mainly in intermediate and active pharmaceutical ingredient manufacturing companies. I work for many companies like I started with Tata Pharma. Earlier days it was Miami Pharmaceuticals and Chemicals Limited, which was driven by Mrs. Tata. And then I worked for Copran Limited, Asia's largest antibiotic manufacturing company. Then with Alkylamines Chemicals Limited, with a specialty chemical manufacturing company. Then I moved to Alembic, Baroda, followed by Yamcure Pharmaceuticals, wherein I set up the quality management system because it was many places, it was a greenfield projects and the right from basic systems establishment of the laboratories and adding value to the organization. That was what was the role. From Yamcure moved to Heikel to Watson. Watson eventually became part of Actavis. Actavis became Allergan became Teva. So this is what was the journey of learning the global quality systems. I'm not entrepreneurs and innovators like all the gentlemen. I'm an employee. So right now I'm associated. In between I moved to Chennai as well, Maladi Pharmaceuticals Limited for a very short span, but very big value addition over there. And from last 6 years, I'm associated with Vanbury Pharmaceuticals Limited, EPI division again, wherein we all know we are manufacturing. Vanbury is manufacturing the non-sterile active pharmaceutical ingredient. We are the largest manufacturer for many of the APIs. Yeah, and would like to be today. Yes, it was a great learning session, but at the same time, again, it will be continue to have the learning session under mentorship of Dr. Ashok as well as Arun and all these entrepreneurs. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you all, fellow panelists. for this short introduction of all of you. And to the audience, it's a wealth of knowledge sitting over here. And I'm sure they will walk us through with a lot of take-home messages for being successful in the future. Let me start the conversation. With a very provocative statement. Don't misunderstand me for Arnab Goswami, but I'm starting this conversation with a very, very very provocative statement, and that is: can India accomplish a global leadership status in the offing? If yes, why? And if no, why? So the question is: can India accomplish a global leadership status in the offing? If yes, why? And if no, why?
I'm an optimist, born optimist, so I think we can. We've done it in space research, right? India, we've done it in nuclear. We've done it in space research. Why not Pharma? And I'm very happy to see all the students here because you are the future of India. And I see you taking notes. And we were talking about changing the culture, etc. Yes. But we will have to work on our mindsets. How? Now I'm coming to how we can do it. We will have to start at homes. We'll have to start at bringing that 100% quality culture at home, discipline, determination, direction, deadlines. We have to get really serious about putting India on the map. The way IT also we have done it. So we have so many precedents. Now, if we just learn from them how they have done it, then the path will be very clear. I already talked about the 5 Ds that we need to inculcate. And also, I don't know how many of you students really show up on time for your classes. Right? I would like to see 100% showing up on classes. You know, these small habits, we have to change. Knowledge, I'll break this up into cash and CV. Cash is knowledge, A is attitude, S is skills, H is habits. We have to focus on these right from the child upbringing stage, where we achieve 100%, not 99.9. You've seen those Japanese, I was really keen because we worked in Japan for the last now 35 years. We've developed 100 molecules first time in India in the chemistry. First time in India. Thanks to Japanese, thanks to South Korea, and thanks to America. You have to partner with the world leaders and you have to change the mindset where it's not 99.9, it's 100, nothing less. And knowledge is something that I would like to now focus on the educational institutions. Our educational institutions have to attract the best talent for teaching. This is how China has already done it 20 years ago. Reverse brain drain. That happened in China much earlier. Now I am very lucky to be part of setting up of, All India Artificial Intelligence Institute, where Indian Pharmaceutical Association has already committed 20 CR. Modi ji has given 200 CR. So government is doing its part, but as educational institutions, they have to do. Then industry, we have the talent, but industry, we need the mindset of doing fundamental research. India is not doing that much of fundamental research. If you see the figures of turnovers, and ma'am is here and she will agree that, the amount of funds committed for fundamental research are 10-15%, of the profits world over. India is maybe 1% or less. So these figures have to go up. So educational institutions, we get the best people. We commit more funds for the research. Then collaboration between academic and industry. That has to happen. And the government grants have to be there. And government is doing its bit. I am already aware that now they have come up with some schemes where, if you are committing funds for research, you are getting a lot of incentives. So the government is there, but it all has to again come down to skills development. So attitude, can we do it? Yes, we can do it. Whether difficulties will come, yes, difficulties will come. Can we face it? Yes, we will have to face it. The way IT has done, we had the leading people sitting in the US guiding the Indian industry. Pharma is the same. Now, you got to learn from America or the other countries, China included. China is really way, way ahead from India. We hate it, but the fact is there. The institutions there are not just teaching, they are discovering. Most of the research happens in the institute. We are part of giving a path-breaking molecule for hair growth, which is now Wall Street Journal's, it's there as a big blockbuster in the US market. First time from India, derived from where? Ayurveda. Who has patented it? Americans are patenting it, not us. Okay, so we are innovating, but we are not patenting it enough. So those things have to change. So cash I have covered. C is character and values. See, ethics and character. You know, we need to have that built in the way the Japanese are and the way the South Koreans. Sir mentioned here, you know, in the Japan, you know, even in a train you cannot speak. So small things, they go a lot more. So if we can attack all this, I think we can do it.
Right, thanks. Nikhil?
Yeah, I think 100%. I think, India has an aspiration to be a $450 billion industry by 2047. I think we can do it. If you look at the, situation right now, currently almost 30 new chemical entities are being developed in India as we speak. Right? Now imagine 5 years ago that wasn't the case. This has only started probably post-COVID, where companies have invested smartly in research, in genuine research, because you realized after COVID that we're more or less on our own, right? So right from biologicals to vaccines to small molecules to, kind of all kinds of advanced therapies, stem cell-based therapies, gene-based therapies, everything is going to be researched and developed here in India. And it is happening already. We're not talking about a futuristic thing. The two things that I think is very important is one is to have a quality consciousness. Without that, you can't do anything, right? And that goes into the manufacturing aspect. Now, the government is, the CDSCO is tightening on quality standards. There's a Schedule M kind of an upgrade, and manufacturers are trying to upgrade their standards. But that's just one part of it. I think more important than that is the research consciousness. Right, to actually innovate, to actually make it happen, to get the right resources, the right talent, so that you can be able to innovate. Just having an idea is just the very start of kind of creating something new. You need to then have the resources, the team, the talent, and then the willpower and the money to do it. So I think the research or innovation consciousness is something which I think is the key. We recently got a product approved for the first time in the world, and my team was the happiest out of all. I mean, imagine doing something for the first time in the world. Sort of 8 billion people, you're the only ones to do it. That excitement, that passion is something that should drive the youngsters, and everything then comes once you have the willpower to do it. We in India have the ability to research, and our research costs could be probably 1/10 of what would happen in the US, or how much it would cost in the US. So not only can we research and innovate, but we can also do it at a very cost-effective kind of price, so that access to those innovative products can go to countries where currently American innovation hasn't yet reached. I travel quite a lot to Africa, right from west to east. I don't see any American products there doing that well. They just simply cannot afford them. Whereas Indian products or Indian innovated products have scope in countries like Africa, countries of the global south, all the emerging markets. So in many ways, we should be inspired from what happens in China and the US. Understand what their research culture is, but at the same time, we should realize that we have even a greater ability to make those innovations much more affordable to all. So we always, in our company, we say innovation with a heart and soul. We're not just there to make a quick buck, not just there to make quick money, but we're there to make a real impact. And I think that is what Indian pharma can that's the kind of leadership it could offer in the future. there's a long way to go. There's a lot of things to happen. We need more data scientists, more AI professionals. We need more, technically qualified professionals. All of that is required. But I think we're on the right track now, and I think, eventually, I think we will get there. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Yeah, as per me, if you want to be reached to the developed nation and want to be a pharmaceutical leader in the world, there are two things I feel, as Sir said recently, that two things we can get excellence. One is manufacturing, another is innovation. Right? As our Three Idiots movie everyone has seen, right? In that there was one line, pursue excellence, success will follow. Same thing, rightly our topic is also excellence in pharma. So I just correlate it incidentally. So to achieve the excellence, we must need to have a excellence in manufacturing and excellence in innovations. Now, in pharmaceutical sector, if you want to achieve a excellence in manufacturing, then we have to copy our neighboring nation. Which is neighboring nation? Student. Manufacturing, who is in top right now? China, right. So, see, I don't want to discuss all the aspects, but main aspects I would like to discuss here. If some product, if you want to design, if you want to make some drug entity, the world market is 100 tons per year, for example. So when they design the plant, they will design it for 1000 tons per year capacity. They will make extra capacities. And what they do is, they do cost competitive they become. Right? So if Indian companies manufacturing some product with 100 rupees per kg, they are making it at 50 rupees per kg. And they are dumping that product in all over the world. And what will exactly happen in that case is, other countries like India, other countries, whoever, Europe, US, or any non-regulated countries, they have to stop the production. Right? Same thing happened in case one product, I'll say Penji, penicillin G potassium. So long back, all our big, even government plant has closed down due to this strategy. So we must adopt the strategy while designing the plant. Always design the plant with excess capacity. Then next question will come, what we will do with excess capacity? So the answer is, last 8 days back I visited CPHF Frankfurt. I was there. So I just came to know the complete trend. So people are believing on India right now after COVID. Rather than China, they are believing on India. So there are lots of opportunities from Europe, US, you can say, or Africa to contract manufacturing, CRDMO. So you can do contract research and manufacturing in India. So with that excess capacity, you can do that. You can utilize that capacity. So that is the way we can utilize, we can compete in the world, right? We can compete the China. Now, in case of, let's say, innovation, second point, innovation, whom we have to follow is, just now sir said, Japan, US, Europe, right? So they are the countries whom we have to follow. They are very perfect in the innovations. They are putting pumping in the money, lot of money. So we have to exactly copy them. We also need to invest more on the research. Okay, and the one thing lagging in India is, I'm not criticizing, but it's a culture, right? So is industry, academia, industry partnership. We must need to have a digital integration between academia, research institutes, then in clinical trials, what you do, right? Drug discovery, clinical trials, then pilot scale commercializations, manufacturing, then investors, right? So everything, and even once it reaches to the patients. So everything should be through in one thread. It should be there. So everything should be controlled with each other. They should go there is one song, Dal haathon mein haath hum chalenge saath saath. Okay, so same thing, all these industries has to be go together so that we can be able to reach that excellence, right? Uh, okay, thank you so much.
How well you said, I absolutely agree. Because if you see, let's take one example, contrast media. Earlier, some other countries were very, very at race and at par, but now India is leading on that. Why? Because of innovation, because we are not only copy masters and cut and paste now, and we have understood there are many other molecules wherein we have started launching those products only in India. Those are not there in Europe, those are not there in US also, not even in Japan also. But at the same time, yes, I agree with Doctor what you said, because China institutes are far, far better as with respect to the fund management. Because for the student, they give the accommodation, they give all the facilities, and they give very good stipend, and that really helps them to have the real discovery. But at the same time, we are also far better because we all are young. That is point number one. We are well connected to the entire world, because I had seen multiple places in America, Europe, even to China also. Trust me, we are far, far better, though we have challenges on the infrastructure and all. Though sometimes, government recently realized, and post-COVID and all, PLI incentives have started. That's really good thing. But in addition to that, if you see the other facilities in China or even Europe, the government is providing all the utilities, be it steam, be it power or clean air, clean water, everything. Here, the entrepreneur, they have to focus on these utilities. They are 50% of the energy and resources. They have to focus and concentrate on those aspects as well. So, because of that, sometimes, we may have some other challenges, but at the same time, we are really, really cost effective. And not only as, you said rightly, we are not only working on 30 odd products, but in addition to that, there are many segments wherein we are working on NCs, and a lot of good efforts are being put by the government. At the same time, our Connect is going to help us, and the young people, young generation is going to change the environment, and will be leader in the market of in the pharmaceutical industry, and will definitely do far, far better. Yeah, I will advise, because sir has very good articles which have been published. So that is a very good data also. It's not only for making the statement. So those data, if you study properly, you will come to know by 2040, 2050 where we will be. We'll reach at par, right? Yeah. Thank you so much.
You can circulate that article.
Yeah.
I think
No.
that's good.
Can I just supplement, because sir asked, this question was a lot detailed. There are some things missing. I wanted to give my partners time
Sure.
to speak.
Yeah.
But we need to, in addition to what we covered, one very critical thing which is missed out is that we need to now watch the future trends. You have to see now the pharma, most important trend is the healthcare is becoming now predictive, preventive, and precision. The 3 P's important.
Okay.
So we have to guide our all research, etc., keeping these 3 things in mind. So I thought I'll just add that.
No, great. It's a great point. I think most of the things regarding the subject has been covered with this first provocative question. And, I am just aware of something which Nikhil has been doing, and has been an attraction within the Indian ophthalmological community as such. As a visionary, Nikhil has been enabling visions for those who don't have a vision, patients particularly. And I've interacted with many after seeing a lot of reports appearing in the press. And then I've started following, and I said, let me go and interact with some of these customers and find out. So he has been defining it in India, and I am sure a day will come when he will define what a clear vision is for a patient who is suffering from all eye ailments across the world. I'm sure that will happen one day. The second thing is, I really agree to all the points which has been discussed over here. Everything is there. I don't go by buzzwords of AI and ML and all those things. I don't go by that. Doesn't mean that I don't believe it or I don't practice it. I do. But I don't go by the buzzword. all these are discoveries, all robotic and things like that. Who drives a robot? Who makes a robot? Who does the AI programming? Who does the ML programming? Who does it? It's people who make it. So there is no substitute for this human mind anywhere in this world. And I think if India has to become, and the other thing where I differ from the panel, I will not follow America, I will not follow China, I will not follow Japan. I might follow some of the cultures, but in all these countries, it's the Indian minds who have discovered molecules. If you look at the IT sector, the entire Indian mind is sitting in the US, in the Silicon Valley, and defining what IT is all about, what AI is all about. Everything, it's a human mind. And I will follow those Indian scientists residing in Japan, in US, in China, Australia, wherever it is. I will follow some of the good cultures of those countries and make that we have a mindset which will encourage innovation. What is innovation? Innovation, AI cannot do an innovation, ML cannot do an innovation. It's a human mind. So let's cultivate, and I really go by this, that it has to be a public-private academia partnership, which is happening in Boston, for example. All pharma companies have shifted from New York to Boston is because of the industry academia collaboration which is there. So that's a fantastic point which all of you have raised, and thanks for that. I would just like to understand, there has been a lot of conversation happening within the country is, do you feel India's transition from generics powerhouse to innovation-led ecosystem is enough to drive the Indian pharma to attain sustainable global leadership status? And I again throw the question open to the panel, because I think different perspectives will come from each of the panelists rather than me directing a specific question to a specific person. So whoever can start.
So, yes, because if you see the generic versus brand, yes, as earlier panel discussion, there was phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 trials, which have all been discussed very well. But yes, if you ask me, as we were discussing earlier, 30 molecules are already, the new innovative molecules are there. In addition to that, there are many APIs which have been approved by CDSCO, which are wherein the trials are being executed in India, and those molecules will definitely give it is not only that is going to help to the patients for the well-being, and that is what is the target of all of us, to well-being. At the same time, we all are following our culture, that is a great culture, ancient culture, that is also going to help us to be to increase our average lifespan, because earlier it was somewhere 60 or 65, now it has already crossed to 70. In Himachal Pradesh, it has already crossed 80. So the clean air, clean water, in addition to that, the good, nutritious food, and in addition to that, the good medication and good hospitalization, that is going to definitely help us for the well-being. And the pharmaceutical industry is going to play vital role, because there are many medicines wherein we know that those can cure the diseases, and those trials are already started, and that will put India at the leading position.
So one more thing I just would like to add him in answering this question. Like, apart from we are going to doctor for curation of disease, rather than in earlier discussions, what they were saying, panelists were saying that we need to have a health card, right? So considering Atmanirbhar Bharat, Healthy India, so this health card to be introduced to each and every Indian citizen, okay, and that every Indian citizen has a right to check his health periodically. If he has not checked, then some government discounts or benefits he should not be entitled for that. So what will happen in that case? See, rather than reaching towards that disease, if we maintain and cure that, if we maintain the health, rather than waiting for the disease to come, then it will really be a young India and will be a healthy India. So in that case, like there would be a very good market will come up for the healthcare supplements. That market really need to be taken up now, right? If we say, for example, like vitamins, like magnesium, all supplements, probiotics. So the market is now picking up, and I think we are on the right track, and surely we'll reach to the pinnacle. Right? Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think for us to move up the value chain, we will need to develop patented medicines coming from India to the West. It will be the other way around. And that in many ways has started to happen. It will happen in a bigger way. But I think we have a long way to go, but I think that is the only way we could make it happen. The other thing is that we talk about industry, academia, partnerships. I think in this, what we also need to involve are also clinicians. A lot of medical conditions that are seen in India are not seen in the US or not seen in the West. They're not prevalent enough in those countries, and therefore they're ignored. And when I talk about global, I talk about India first. Reaching out to every part of India is the first part of globalization for me. And then you move to the other parts and, the emerging markets and all of that. Sure. In India, we have 900 million people, roughly, who pay the full price for their medicines. And a lot of them are ignored. Almost 55% of our pharma industry is supplying outside India. Only 45% is supplied in India. And there are huge gaps when it comes to access of medicines, even in our own country right now. So people are looking about, kind of looking to sell to the US and all these, big countries, but you're forgetting your own country, So I think being India-centric is for me being global. The world is coming to India rather than we going to the world. And I rather, for us as a company, it's more exciting to, innovate for us and for the semi-privileged markets than to supply to the US, which is, in my view, an overprivileged market. I'll give you an example. Like, for example, there are as many myopic children in India as many diabetics, here in India. But we only talk about diabetes as a big problem. Why? We don't talk about myopia. Because that concept is copied from the US. Because they invest in diabetic medicines, we just copy-paste them here, and we talk about diabetes. Yes, it's a huge problem. There's a lot to do in diabetes. But at the same time, we have Indian problems like myopia. 1 in 4 children are estimated to be myopic. And we have problems like fungal keratitis, the fungal infections of the eye, which is an Indian-Asian problem. It is not a US problem at all. There's a huge market for it, but no one is investing in research in these areas. So we need to listen to our doctors. Our doctors see these patients kind of, almost on a daily basis. So we need to have engaging discussions with doctors so we understand where these therapeutic gaps lie, so that we know where to research and innovate instead of just simply looking at China or the US and copying what they're doing and trying to emulate them. So I think we need to look inwards, as into our own country and what the therapeutic demands are kind of right here. If we do that, I think we will become a global powerhouse and the world will come to us. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. I think a lot of very good points. I think I'll just focus on, in our Indian mythology, we say you follow Saraswati, Lakshmi will happen.
Yeah.
Lakshmi follows Saraswati, not the other way around. Okay? So I think if we just follow that principle, that we go after knowledge, we go after research, we go after what the new trends are, like I said, the 3 Ps. Okay, and if we see the data, and we see our past, we have basically been focusing on low-cost manufacturing. India is the pharmacy of the world, but we've been talking about low cost, low cost, low cost. That's why we are 20% by volume, but maybe 3% or 4% by value. Right? Now, this is a huge gap. If we have to go up the value chain, and if you see the 2050 figures which I have put down in my article, which sir was mentioning, right? We are talking about from 1.5 trillion today, 2023, to going up to 5 trillion we're talking about 2050, right? Where is this value coming from? Of course, there is growth in the small molecules that we talk about generics, etc. But a lot of value is getting created in the biopharmaceuticals. And that's where today India has started making strides, but we need to focus on that so that we get fair share of that. Now, again, there we'll have to shift to the strategy of collaborative research, because we do realize that we are not there yet where other people are already there, you know. So, again, I don't want to repeat what I already said, but educational institutions will have to make a deeper impact than they have done so far, because we're not talking about just teaching, we're talking about discovery, and we're talking about now the collaboration, the private partner and the government. And the government, the regulators will also have to, you know, step up. We have to have a regulatory system which is completely, you know, very, very efficient, and we get very good, very fast, approvals. And therefore, it's a collective work that we will all have to do from when we're talking about moving from volume to value. I think we can do it, but everyone will have to step up. Thank you.
Thank you. In fact, Arun, you touched upon the regulators. That was the next question that I had as a topic for discussion. And I think when we were talking about a cultural shift, about mind shift, what we have been talking about, I just want to rephrase. I would not look at them as regulators, but I will look at them as facilitators. The moment we start looking at them as regulators, it has got some negative connotation that, you know, they are trying to control, they are going to do this, the DCGI is going to do this, or the CDSCO is laying so many rules, the Schedule M, everything which comes as it is. But they are actually facilitators. Why I call them as facilitators is because they are, during the conversation that we are having before an approval of a drug or the manufacturing process or an API or a packaging material or whatever it is basically they are provoking us to think innovatively, and they are also helping us to ensure maximum patient centricity in whatever we do. They are provoking us to think in terms of patient convenience, patient safety, and efficacy of the drug. I'm sure my fellow panelists will agree with that. The moment we go as a facilitator, it's with an open mind. The mind is a parachute, and we can really get something more. And Nikhil, I just take a point from the conversation that you had, and it's something very recently. I had a conversation with one of a very, very successful global CEO of a company, and it's no other than Emma Walmsley, the CEO, global CEO, who is going to retire now. And recently, 2 months back, I have been having a face-to-face conversation with her. What made her successful from a consumer-driven organization to a patient-centric organization was lending the ears to the patients, lending the ears to the clinicians, lending the ears to the NGOs. And that's exactly what was mentioned. So I asked why. He said, the moment I start hearing, as a leader, I can provide direction to meet the gaps which are there, the treatment gaps which are there. And if I'm talking about patient centricity, I can then guide what patients really want. And I think it's a wonderful attitude, it's a wonderful mindset, and that's why it's successful leadership which is there. So, you have already mentioned about the importance of the facilitators in this. I've just deviate something is how significant is the supply chain resilience and API independence in this context of India becoming a global powerhouse?
I would like to answer this question. Thank you. It's indeed a great question, because we all know that India earlier days was struggling for getting the API from outside. Rather, we were having very limited manufacturing facilities for in India to manufacture API, because the first antibiotic manufacturing facility, Hindustan Antibiotic Limited, which was started post independence, and later on, yes, the move got started, move was there, and but majority of the pharmaceutical business, if you see, is a family owned business. And that could be one of the reason earlier days we have not realized the importance of the supply chain continuity, which is impacting on the business continuity as well. So nowadays, if you see, there are barring few of the specialty segments, because some of the countries, they have advantages because of the geography, because of the nature, yeah. But however, India has progressed well with respect to key starting materials, with respect to intermediate, with respect to many APIs. And earlier import data versus today's import data, there is a big gap, and rather we have started giving the supply of the APIs. Not only earlier days, you'll all surprise, earlier days we never used to supply to China. But nowadays, if you see, today we have started supplying APIs to China. Our majority of the registration, we have started moving our focus, as Nikhil and everyone was explaining that yes, we should be India centric, but at the same time, we are really expanding our horizon. Because earlier days, our focus was only US, eventually Europe, then the Africa, Latin America, in addition to that, MENA market and Japan, but now we are focusing on China as well. And there are many blockbuster molecules where in China has difficulties, and we are leaders in that. In addition to that, because China, though as in earlier session it was stated, we are having maximum formulation companies which are approved by the US FDA, more than 600, as against China is having only 340 or 350 only. As against to ANDAs also, if you look at the number of ANDAs, we are the largest. We are the largest manufacturing facilities. Number of drug master files, we are the largest. Because we have, we are well connected to the world. Our language, because of the primary language, mother tongue, in addition to that, English language, that is also helping us to connect with the world. As against to that, these are the challenges to the other countries. And therein we are far better. And that's the reason I'm sure, we'll be doing better in near future for supplying APIs, which are not only meeting the specific standards, but at par with respect to quality. Because right now, if you see, there are many recalls, many rejections has happened because of the nitrosamine. Rather, the nitrosamine has started only in China, that is in Valsartan in 2019. However, Indian recalls, Indian rejection because of nitrosamine, null. Why? Because we have good control. Why we have good control? Because we, it's in our blood. We follow the system. And that's how we have to continue. Because to be in compliance, it doesn't cost much. But to get into compliance, it costs huge. Because we have really good control on the utilities, whether it is water, whether it is air, or the incoming of the materials and testing. Indian FDA never will tolerate skip testing or no testing of the materials and using it for the formulation. As against to outside of the world, all the facilitators or the regulators, they are allowing for doing so. No risk assessment is accepted by the DCGI. And that is why we are strong and will be more strong near future. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Can I just, sir, with your permission, just add to what, there's a different perspective which, because I said that I wear two caps. One is that of a business and another is of an academician. I do a lot of research and I talk when I'm traveling to China, and I visited a lot of facilities there. One of my fears, sir, is that, and I have shared that with a lot of companies, and some of the companies have told me that they've stopped giving DMFs to China. See, it's a war at the end of the day. What China is capable of doing, is something we can't imagine. Because once you give the DMF, you've given everything, right? Now, we are talking about, I'm coming to the topic that, volume to value. What China is doing, let's try to understand. Okay, what are the possibilities? Maybe, 50% probability that this is what I'm saying is correct. They definitely have a plan to do what India is doing and to do it at a scale which India cannot imagine. Okay, so, in metformin, you are making metformin, right? DCDA comes from China. Now imagine the time when China takes that capacity to levels where we cannot imagine. So we got to be careful of this, right? While we are accessing Chinese market, we need to make sure that we are not giving away our technology, but that's something which I don't think is possible, right? So it's a strategy that we got to think whether we really want to access for APIs. APIs market by 2050, we are talking about 450 billion, right? So India can play that role if they just leave aside China, right? China can, that's just my different perspective. Second thing, China is much ahead from India in biopharmaceuticals where huge growth is happening. We are talking about semaglutide, right, in different brand names. Today, they are the leaders. And they're going to be the leaders for good amount of time. We need to therefore focus on those areas where China is ahead of us also, right? And therefore, and then second thing is the finished formulations. You know, as we talk, my research tells me, you know, for the last 5 years, even US-China war may be there out there in the public, but you know, the US FDA is sitting right in China, empowering them, teaching them how to manufacture formulation. So because US is really concerned about high cost, right? They want their healthcare costs to come down. Today you are saying already 350, right? You see how these 350 graph has come in. You will find that the slope of this graph is really steep. And that's how China is accelerating in terms of getting US FDA facilities. I won't be surprised that in another 2 years they would surpass us.
Thanks, Arun. It's a very, very balanced and insightful observation which has been made. Yeah, sure.
Just we discussed 2 points now. One is volume to value, and another is impurities. These two I just would like to address. Being my company, we are manufacturing into the enzymes. So we are rigorously working on biocatalysis processes. So we are working on the enzymes to replace all the hazardous chemicals, solvents, so that these impurities like nitrosamine or any other solvent impurities should not be there into the finished formulations. So we're working rigorously on that. So, and of course there is a long way to go. It's not so easy. There are many patents are there. But those who are coming out and now coming as a generics now in the next year, by next year, so there are few drugs that we are going to launch the enzymes for that. For example, sitagliptin.
Right.
Yeah, we are there into that. Yeah, thank you.
Just a quick point. So I think, despite the government's PLI scheme to boost development and manufacturing of APIs in India, even now I think 70% dependency on China is there for our APIs. So we're not yet, fully self-reliant. We are self-reliant when it comes to manufacturing. We are not self-reliant when it comes to APIs right now, and definitely not self-reliant yet when it comes to research and innovation. So we have a long way to go in that. But when it comes to intellectual property, I mean, I personally don't trust China at all. I mean, I don't think anyone does. Right?
True.
So we can't trade those things. Yes, we can have a good kind of trading relation with them, but not at the expense of giving our IP away. And I think that needs to be looked at.
Totally agree with you.
There is one more trend which I saw, very, very quickly. There is another trend which has to be marked. That is, the API manufacturer itself is taking leadership in the formulation. So there is a complete backward integration, sir, from the basic raw material to final formulation. And that's something maybe we also have to learn and replicate. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. I think Dr. Alok is here, means the time is up. So first of all, thanks to all of you, but I would just like to quickly 1 minute summarization of what we really discussed, because this is a very, very important and hot topic discussed in all corporate boardrooms. One thing is a mind shift from pharmaceuticals to healthcare in totality. That's something which we need to look at. It's no longer selling a pill. It's selling a total package. And that is where I quote Dr. Hamid, who was the first one to talk about Cipla is not into selling pills. It's offering a package in healthcare. And I truly appreciate the sentiment and have true regards for that. The second thing is that, as we mentioned, that the Indian pharmaceutical industry is evolving rapidly. leading to the emergence of new leadership roles that address the sector's dynamic global challenges and opportunities. Now, one thing we have all discussed over here, we have discussed about the quality, and whenever we discuss about quality, we talk about good manufacturing practice, we talk about good clinical practice, we talk about the product as such. But I personally feel, and that is what I practiced, and that is what I also suggest people, is the quality of leadership which makes a difference. And I see sitting between in the audience today, one of the brightest minds of HR sitting over here, Mr. Anil, who is sitting over here, and I'm sure that he will be on the same page with me and saying that yes, Indian leadership is what is going to make a difference for any industry in the country to be a global powerhouse. If it has been in the IT, it has been Azim Premji. It has been people like that who have made the difference. And similarly, it's a leadership which will make the difference. And why I'm mentioning to the young people sitting over here, the future leaders of the healthcare industry, by the time you really take up leadership roles, it will be a total healthcare which will be integrated into pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, distribution, clinical practice. Everything will be integrated into one. And it will be one topic only. And for you, the future generation of this country and for the world, because you may be based anywhere, be very, we have discussed in earlier panel, earn trust of customers, internal customers and external customers. Extremely important. Why? The trust will enable you for collaboration. And COVID has taught us that once we collaborate, we can succeed and deliver whatever we want. Just an example, supply chain was never looked with a big, smile. It was looked, many people in many companies used to tell distribution is like Trako ka Raja. That is what people used to tell. But this is one vertical in organizations across industries which became the most important vertical, because they ensure during COVID times that products are available where it should be, when it should be, and how it should be, ensuring the integrity, the last integrity of a product. So, friends, the take-home message is the challenges are increasing, the global competition, heightened regulatory scrutiny, stringent regulations, narrowing profit margins, controls, and the push for sustainability need tough decisions and forward-thinking approaches and mindset. So I wish the future leaders to be really taking tough decisions. This calls for leaders who can think differently, to embrace, never cry at the challenges, embrace challenges, then only innovation can come. If you cannot embrace challenge, innovation cannot be there. Who can think differently, navigate these challenges, foster collaboration, inspire innovation to seize new growth opportunities in a transparent, fair, and compliant manner. Friends, never forget, the word compliance is extremely important, because that can build a brand or that can kill a brand. To build a brand, it takes a lot of time. One non-compliance kills a brand. Remember the Maggie story. Remember the Cadbury story. They have to spend millions of dollars to recreate a brand. So compliance is extremely, do innovation, be aggressive, but be compliant. That's the message that comes from the whole panel, and wish you good luck and a very good future. Thank you.